What up?
Hola,
What
hola,
up? And
hola.
what
Hola, hola,
up?
hey.
We apologize that we're 5 minutes late, but we hope that it's going to be worth the wait. I am Kia McLean.
And I'm Shamika Arnold, and I'm the Dark Therapist.
Whoop, whoop. She a
Hello, hello, hello.
bad sister, too. She a bad sister.
I'm a bad, she's a bad mamma jamma,
Mamma Jamma. Hey, hey.
just as
Just
fine as
as
she
fast
can
as
be.
she can be. Hey, hey. Y'all know we always start off with a concert. Y'all know. We gonna give y'all energy. Hey,
Right,
hey,
right.
energy. We gonna give y'all some good energy. So tonight's topic is go from pause to play. Don't let your anger mature into bitterness.
Yes.
Pretty interesting topic, right? What y'all think about that topic? Pretty interesting topic. And one of the things that I think is important to highlight is the fact that sometimes we be ready to get into relationships and stuff, but we don't really be ready.
Not really.
And we sometimes get angry. We start to give up on love. We start to develop the feelings of bitterness,
Yeah.
right? And so that is what this conversation is going to be about this evening. So, good evening to everyone joining us. For whatever reason, I can't see who's joining. I don't know what that's about, but I can see that we have 3 people.
I know I
And
see
this,
likes. Okay, there it is.
that's me trying to see if I can see that, but I can't
Uh,
see who's in. And we won't worry about that. We'll look for
okay.
some comments when people are ready to.
Okay,
Uh,
Keldrick just came on. It's me, you, and Keldrick right now.
okay. So, hey, Keldrick, good evening. Thank you for joining us. So tonight, this is going to be like a deep conversation. So we want to let you all know we will acknowledge your comments at the end because we don't want to get distracted. We want to kind of stay focused on this particular topic for the evening so we can get through it. So you can put your comments, but we're not going to address comments until the end so we can get. This is going to be a very, very good conversation, y'all. Okay. Okay.
Yay.
All right. So I wanted to read something that I read in an article, and I want to share it with you all. And then I'm gonna really let Shamika take the wheel as we talk about, because I really want to kind of focus on the mental health aspect of developing such bitterness. And this was so interesting to me. The concept came to my mind, and she can tell you this. The concept came to my mind at like 5 a.m. And I texted her then. So it was like 3 a.m. Cali time, or maybe it was 6 a.m. here and 4 there. Nevertheless, the thought came to my mind, and then I read this article. Coincidentally, I came up on this article, and I read this article, and I was like, dang, this ties into what I was thinking about this morning for our conversation. Want me to blow?
I know. I'm like, it's something in my eyeball.
I'm a blow. But this was so interesting to me. So let's just get right into it. So this part of the article is talking about the cost of bitterness. And what they say in this article is yet the benefits of retreating into acrimonious victimhood, defaulting to bitterness, invariably carries a high price tag.
Hmm.
It can prolong your mental and emotional pain and may even exacerbate it. It may lead to long-lasting anxiety and or depression.
Mm-hmm.
It may precipitate vengeful acts that put you at further risk of being hurt or victimized
Mm-hmm.
and possibly engulf you in a never-ending cycle.
Mm.
Dwelling self-righteously on the past wrongs inflicted on you. It can create or deepen an attitude of distrust and
Mm.
cynicism, qualities that contribute to hostility and paranoid thinking, as well as an overall sense of pessimism.
Mm.
Such a bleak perspective prompts others to turn away from you.
Mm.
It also interferes with your cultivating healthy, satisfying relationships and leads you to doubt or disparage your connection to others.
Right.
It can compromise or weaken your higher ideals and adversely impact your personal search for purpose and meaning in life. It can rob you of vital energy far better employed to help you realize your desires or achieve goals that you coveted earlier.
Mm.
It can undermine your physical health. The chronic anger that is bitterness can raise your stress baseline, thereby taxing your immune system.
Mm.
Two more. It can blind you from recognizing your own role or
Mm.
responsibility and possibly having been vindictively harmed by another.
Mm.
And last, by keeping you in a paradoxical state of vengeful bondage, erode your sense of well being. So, as you see, this is why I thought this was going to be such a good, important conversation to have, because this, to me, is heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about the types of conversations that I have with some of my single friends, some of my single acquaintances, and some of the things that I see posted on social media,
Mm.
I see a lot of these things.
Anger. Yeah.
A lot of anger, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
victimization, um, which is prolonging it, which is making you sick, which is making you pessimistic about a relationship. And the other key part is this will affect not only your romantic relationships,
Mm.
but all relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we get to a space of clearing out that bitterness?
Mm.
Shamika.
so first off, I feel like this is always the conversations that just again what not healing from past hurts continues to cause um, more harm to yourself than anybody else, right? It does.
Yeah.
It's like drinking the poison and expecting the other person to respond to that poison, right? To die, to be sick or whatever. But you're the one drinking it, and
Mm-hmm.
um, so the better again, the better. Well, not the better. That's not what I want to say. One of the ways again is about like when you said actually one of the problems was one of the answers, taking responsibility taking
Mm-hmm.
responsibility for your choice and choosing whatever relationship that caused the harm,
Yeah.
taking responsibility for your part in that. It didn't happen in a bubble. um oh, I was like, what's that noise? My little instant thing is bubbling. um it's it's you having to heal again, even from childhood trauma. If you've chosen a relationship that has caused trauma, that has caused significant trauma or significant anger in your life, like you have to go back to looking at what got you there to begin with. What got you to the point where you chose a situation, where you chose something that that caused you harm. And here's the thing: some people are like, I didn't know. It was a surprise. So okay, but it's not that you didn't see it, right? It's the energy that brought them there. It's the energy of of whatever you're dealing with that brought them into your space, and you welcome them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you saw it or not, it's what you were drawn to. What it was drawn to you. And so identifying, okay, what do I need to work on so that way this doesn't happen again? And again, taking responsibility for whatever caused the relationship to Because here's the thing: what if you were the issue? What if you were the full issue? What if it was you because you were holding on to past, you know?
Yeah.
So, so I think identifying um, where you need to work on yourself at, identifying what a healthy relationship looks like to you.
Yeah.
What does a healthy, have you seen one? Have you ever seen a healthy relationship? Have you seen a relationship where people had a discussion or argument and they were able to resolve it in a healthy manner? Or have you only seen abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, and thought that that was okay? And maybe this is why you chose that relationship, because it was familiar. Did I stray off the answer the question? Did I stray off the question?
Well, I wouldn't say you strayed off. What I think what some of the questions may be, whether it's live here now or later when people come back to watch the replay, is yeah, they've heard all of these things, right? Which sounds bleak, right? It sounds like there's okay, now what do I do? Because what I've come to understand, and again, because I've been having these conversations with people so often, I'll just say this. One of the ones that stood out to me, and I feel like they're all connected, right? They all are intertwined in some way, but some of them talk about your physical health. And we've touched on that before, how you can make yourself physically ill by your thoughts, by your beliefs. You can literally make yourself ill. But I'm going to tell you, out of all the ones that I just mentioned here, the one that really kind of stood out for me, that I kind of want you to elaborate on a little deeper, is the one that talks about you can create or deepen an attitude of distrust and cynicism, qualities that contribute to hostility and paranoid thinking, as well as an overall sense of pessimism. Such a bleak perspective prompts others to turn away from you.
Hmm.
I want to address that, because I feel like there are people, when they talk, when they are telling me, like, I'm like, okay, what's going on with dating? What are your thoughts about dating? What have been your experiences? And I'm here to tell you, I've heard people say, well, you're in a relationship, so you can't speak on this.
Ooh.
I've heard a ton of people tell me this. You're in a relationship, you can't speak on being single. I mean, people are entitled to their opinion. They can say that. I'm okay with
But you were single before,
that. I've been single.
right? I was like,
A bunch of times. A bunch.
a bunch of them, bunch of them.
But but
But that's interesting, though. Even that response that they have is interesting. It's this underlying something else, like this underlying like uh, pessimism, pessimism. This underlying pessimism, right? Like you can't speak on my experiences because you have a man. You can't say anything because you have a man. You know, so that's interesting. Even their response is interesting. Okay, where'd you go, Kia?
we got a producer now that be trying to be fancy.
Like, okay, she talking.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I want to see your face, though.
Trying to be fancy, trying to be fancy, throwing out.
He's on. Let me try
Showing
to
out.
side.
You can't give us new stuff sometimes. We don't know how to act.
He's back there. Let me see what this do.
See my new toy?
Zoom in, zoom out.
I got a new toy. But no, like, so I'm glad you picked up on that. I actually wanted you to pick up on that. And that's why after I shared that particular bullet point, I also shared what a lot of people have told me, because it's tied in to the pessimism,
Right.
cynicism, right?
Right.
And
It goes right along with it.
it goes, and then the very last sentence says, such a bleak perspective prompts others to turn away from you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
even the people that I've been doing this roundabout with, at
Mm-hmm.
some point, you're gonna turn me away, you're gonna turn other people away, you're gonna, and I say this with all the light and love possible, because the goal is for people to heal. But people are finding themselves in this cycle of, and this is coming from someone
Stuck.
that, this is coming
Stuck.
again from the person that used to say this. Oh, these niggas ain't this. These men ain't this. They get on my nerves. They don't act right. I used to say things like that, right? So I'm very aware of that energy. So when
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the presence of that energy, I know, oh, okay, I'm dealing with a pessimist here. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I was a pessimist before, so I know, like, let me talk through this with you. But when you stay in that energy, it creates such anger, aka what they said here, hostility.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the main people that say they want a relationship.
They won't be able to. And if they do, it'll be an unhealthy one. It'll be an unhealthy one. I was just watching. I reposted something, and he was talking about energy. He said people won't change unless they shift the energy, and so the energy is that belief that all men aren't any good. That belief system that you've
Mm-hmm.
held on to, will create again that being drawn to you. You know what you believe in. Well, what if what you speak is what you create? What if what you speak in is what you're going to create? So if you don't think all men are nothing, then that's what you're going to get because you believe that to be true. So if you believe that to be true, then that's the only thing that's going to show up. If you don't allow yourself to choose to think any other different way, then how is anything going to change? You
So
know
let's pause there for just a second. Let's pause there because the other thing that I have heard is you make that sound easy. That's not that easy.
what?
This is how I've thought. This is how I've thought all of my life. This is how I've been all of my life. You've heard this too,
Mhm.
right? So what do we say to those people? I know
And
what I
how is
say
that?
to them.
So how is that working now? So if something, okay, so then the question would be, then you don't want it to change because if you feel like this is how you thought, then you don't want it to change. So it's okay. And again, it's your choice. You do not have to want it to change. It is your choice. This is your life. You can hold on to that and continue to see the outcome of that thought, that thinking process. You keep seeing it because it keeps showing up. But what if you want to choose something different? What if all it took was to believe something different? What if all it took is to know that something else new and beautiful can show up? What if all it took was to like, and the thing is that what you can start doing is looking at, um, there's like looking at the people out there that have healthy dynamics or healthy relationships because and when people say well you can't talk on this because you have this relationship, well how did you get that relationship? Why not ask you? You know what, you were single before, right? Why not ask? If you, this is only if you wanted to change though, only if
Mm-hmm.
you wanted to change, because you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to want it to change because you can always be the victim like that other bullet point was. You create victimization, so you can maintain the victimhood if you want to. That's okay. It's okay. You have the freedom to choose, baby. But if you wanted to change, you would ask the one that's in a relationship, in a working relationship, how did she do it when she was single? You know what? You are dating. How long were you single? How long did it take for you to find somebody that you felt compatible with?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you guys have your struggles? What do you guys struggle with? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so what if it switched right? If you again, if you want to change, if you want
Yeah.
to do something different, and you don't have to, you don't have to. We're just giving you another option, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
continue to keep that option, but how is it working for you now? You
Yeah.
know, and so it's about creating something different. It's about choosing to create. It's about first choosing to want something different to show up.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do nothing yet. All you got to do is say, you know what, this shit is not working. I cussed. Is that okay?
That's
Did
okay.
Marcus do it? Did Marcus do a
I
beep? He's
I
tapping.
just I just cussed earlier. Yeah.
Okay, okay. All you have to, and you don't have to, like, it's always amazing to me. You don't even have to do anything yet. You have to do nothing. All you have to do is think in your head, like, this is no longer working for me. What can I do different?
Yeah.
What else can show up? And watch what else can show up. Like, I promise you, something different will show up.
I think for me too, one of the things, because even when I was in that space, when I was in that energy, I remember I read a book and it said 21 days to change habits. And I said, I'm gonna give myself 21 days and I'm gonna change what I've been doing.
But
Because
before you got there, but before you even got there, you
uh-huh.
had to already know you wanted to change, and that book showed up.
Right, right. But you're right. That's exactly what happened. I knew in my mind that I needed to change. It wasn't about blaming other people. It wasn't about being a victim. It wasn't about woe is me. It wasn't about all men are dogs. It wasn't about, oh my goodness, nobody wants me and nobody's going to act right. And oh, only married men try to talk to me. Only these types of men try to talk to me. And all men just want to have sex. Like all of those things had to be pushed out and I had to develop a new way of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the
Mm-hmm.
book shows up. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, in order for me to change, in order to create new habits, I have to at least commit to this for 21 days.
Right, right, right,
I'm going to commit to doing something new for 21 days.
right.
And in that change of I'm going to do something different for 21 days, it felt good.
Mm-hmm.
It felt better. It felt lighter. I didn't feel angry all the time. I didn't feel like I needed to defend my new energy. Like I needed to, oh, why are you doing this, kid? Why are you doing? It just feels lighter. It just feels
Mm-hmm.
good. Doing the same thing just was not working for me anymore. So you get to that place where you're like, you know what? I have to find a different way, and I've found a different way
Mm-hmm.
because now I'm going to be in control of my life.
Mm-hmm.
There
Mm-hmm.
is no blame. I
Right.
am not a victim. There's no one to point the finger to but myself. And when
Mm-hmm.
you make a decision to take ownership of you, all good things will come.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a witness to that.
Mm-hmm.
I am a living witness to that. If you keep doing the same thing, though, if I keep speaking the same way, if I'm in the same energy around the same people who also speak that way, if I'm around other women who say the same thing, like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, girl, all these men dogs, all these men ain't this. And if you do get a relationship, then they're saying negative things about your relationship. They're saying negative things about the man. They're saying, girl, he ain't no better than the other ones. So you have to make a conscious decision to figure out it's me.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's me? Like you said, what if it's me?
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to like hit on that particular bullet point because I think that one is just so heavy. And that's the one that a lot of people kind of fall into,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they've been doing it for so long. Like, you are going to develop an attitude of distrust. You are
Mm-hmm.
going to develop cynicism. You're going to become a pessimist,
Your
and
body
people are going to
language will
run.
even be different. Your
Huh?
body language, your body language will even be different. I remember when I noticed like I didn't get as many people hitting on me, right? I remember I was like the way I carried myself, right? The way and it had nothing to do with the way I dressed. It had
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do with that because I still like to I like to like show skin. I'm okay with that. Like I'm comfortable in my skin to do that. But I remember walking in a space, and I used to, be open to having these different type of experiences, right? And so those what was drawn to me. It was that. And then when I changed my whole thinking, even when I walked to the space and even just not everybody will approach me, you know? And so I realized, like, they're not rejecting me, it's that I've changed. I've
Mm-hmm.
changed what I wanted to be drawn to or what I wanted to come to me.
Yeah.
And so that's how you know too when there's a change. Because sometimes, I mean, I remember thinking like, oh my gosh. At first, initially, I thought like, oh, I'm not attractive enough or whatever. Then I thought I was like, or did I change? Like, what changed about me? Like, because something changed, and again, it was something I wasn't asking or wanting the same thing again, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll notice that, like you said, you start feeling lighter, and things are drawn to you. There's different things that will be drawn to you,
Yeah.
you know. And it's a beautiful feel. And then and then even to that heaviness of the anger, the heaviness of the distrust, the heaviness of the, like, what you're just doing is building and creating more walls and pushing people away. So that when something good does show up, you won't even know it because you got the wall so thick and so high up, you won't even pay attention to it. Because you already think that they're not good enough or you already have the distrust. So you always got to, so when you have that distrust, you always got to be on the defense.
Mm-hmm.
You always got to be on the defense. That's tiring. That's so tiring. So tired that I got to keep saying, you know, keep saying, no, you ain't no good. I don't know why you come up and smiling in my face.
Right.
Nobody want to be around that. Nobody want to be around that no way. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Shoot.
I think that's
Yeah.
like when I consider that and I think about that, I think about how I used to have really bad headaches or how I would
Mm.
have really bad stomach issues.
Mm.
Um,
That's stress.
and how those things contributed, just having that built up anger and that built up stress and creating that victimization. All of that stuff is holding up in your body, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you're frustrated. You don't even really know why you're frustrated anymore. You've just settled into the feeling of
Mm-hmm.
anger, frustration, which culminates into that bitterness. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, if you're in a pause moment right now and you're like, okay, I'm not dating right now, I'm single, I'm not getting um, the attention that I may want right now because I'm in this pause. But I want to hit play. I want to hit play. I want to get back out there. I want to have a relationship. I want to, in this pause season, this is a time to assess whether or not you are forming some bitterness. Right now, it could just be that you're frustrated
Mm-hmm.
and you haven't gone all the way to a space of completely stepping into bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be that you felt so much rejection and now you're nervous and you're scared
Mm-hmm.
to step
Mm-hmm.
into something else, and so you look at everybody with that cynicism,
Right,
with
right.
that fear, um, and with the almost expectation for people to be lying to you and be wrong for you. And so you're
Right.
creating all of these things. But what I want to say to you is if you continue to do those things, it's going to lead you to a space of bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to a space of bitterness, it's going to be really tough for people to want to approach you,
Right.
want to connect with you, because your bitterness is going to come out as unapproachable. That is the energy that bitterness is going to give to people.
Right.
And so you have to make a decision if whether or not, because what did Shamika tell you all? It's a choice. But
Mm-hmm.
the choice is I'm going to stay in this energy and I'm
Right.
going to remain a cynic and frustrated and angry and all of the negativity. I'm going to allow that to affect me and put up these walls, or I'm going to make a decision to change.
Mm-hmm.
Because the decision is, you're still making a decision. If you decide to stay the same,
Mm-hmm.
that's a decision.
Right.
If you decide to change, that's a decision.
Right.
But stick to it, whatever it may be. Be
Right.
consistent.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that again, it doesn't take anything. It doesn't take it takes nothing to say, you know what? I want to choose something different. Because here's the thing: all you have to do is say, you know what? This is no longer working. This is no longer working for me. What can I choose that's different? And
Mhm.
again, even this right now, even what we're doing right now is like that thing, right? It's that thing. It don't have you don't and you don't you're not paying for nothing. You're just listening and you're seeing that wow. All I have to do is I can think different. I can choose something different. Oh, Kia mentioned a book. Let me see what this book is about. Right? So it's like when you ask for it, it's like the universe would be like, "Oh, now you ready? Okay, got you." Like
Mhm.
it's the weirdest thing. You have to like it's the weirdest thing. It's like it's like I feel like sometimes we think things are going to be hard, right? That's what my clients always say. It's gonna be hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. And what if it's not hard? What if it's just uncomfortable? It's uncomfortable to do something different that you've always done, right? But what you've always done, it's like making a cake and you keep putting salt in it instead of sugar. And you're like, why the cake not coming out right?
Mhm.
Because you gotta put something else in it. Nah, I'm gonna keep on doing this because my mother made this cake with some salt in it. And it's like, did you like when your mother made the cake? Well, no, I didn't like when my mother made the cake, but this is the cake she made, so I'm gonna keep on sticking with this cake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the same concept, right? I don't think this has worked, so I'll keep getting into. So I watch my mama get in a bad relationship, and I jump right into one that's a bad relationship too, and I keep jumping into relationships that are not healthy. But I'm gonna keep doing the same thing over and over again, and hopefully it'll change. Hopefully it'll change if I keep doing the same thing over and over again, and one day it'll change. I mean, you can keep doing that, or you can step outside of that comfort and choose something different and want something different. And
Yeah.
again, all you have to do is say, this is no longer working. What else can show up? This is part of that. If you've already thought that in your head, this is part of that. This is the universe. This is God saying, hey, here's something different.
Mhm.
Here's something
Mhm.
different. You know? Like what if and it's like, what if it's not hard? What if it's total ease? What if what you're doing is the hard, right? What if what you're doing is the hard because you're fighting against or you're fighting against something, right? You're always fighting
Mhm.
something with the anger. You're always fighting something, and then proving your and proving yourself right that men are dogs or women are dogs. So you jump into situations to prove. Look, did I tell you they weren't no good?
Yeah.
Who wants to
Yeah.
do that over and over again?
Mhm.
Who wants to create that over and over again? I mean, you can if you want to. You can if you want to. But this right coming here is just choosing something different. It's seeing that you have other options available. What if there's other options available? And it doesn't take much. It's up to you. And we talk about the health, your health. Like how much
Mhm.
stress is that on the body to hold on to anger? How much stress is that to hold on? Even to continuously think, like you said, you had headaches, you
Mhm.
know? Like how much of even the pain that you're feeling in your body, how much of that is more stress than anything else? You know? Like we don't even realize like how much stress we put on ourselves by just our thoughts.
Mhm.
By just our thoughts. Like anxiety is because you overthinking.
Yep.
Depression, shoot. Somebody told me that anxiety is thinking about the future and depression is thinking about the past. Either way, you overthinking. So
Yeah.
you thinking whether it's the past, it's already gone. It's already dead and gone.
Mhm.
And the future ain't even been created yet. We so busy outside of right here, right now. You know, we so busy with outside of right here, right now. We don't have to worry about tomorrow. We got to work. I mean, today. What if today is just we got to focus on today? And what if today we just choose something different today and it'll create a different tomorrow?
Yeah, I think to tie in what you said also, I want to talk about, you talked about the emotional effects, the mental health effect, the physical effect, and of course we're talking about romantic relationships, but this extends beyond. And I think this is why this is so important, because this is a very holistic approach to this. You have to think about it. If it's going to affect potential romantic partnerships, it's going to affect all of your relationships. My anger affected my relationships with everybody because I was angry. My frustration affected my relationship with everybody because I was
Mhm.
always frustrated. My pessimism, all of those things affected all of my relationships. So when you think about this in a cumulative way, this is going to affect your
Every
entire
areas of your
life,
life.
every area of your life,
Hmm.
all relationships in your life. That alone, I'm hoping, prompts you to observe your situation and then say, you know what? I'm going to choose discomfort for a little while,
Hmm.
because that's what change is going to bring about. Change is going to always bring about discomfort.
Hmm.
That's why they call it growing pains,
Hmm.
because you are growing. And when you grow, there's a little bit of discomfort there.
Hmm.
And we have to be willing to go through a little bit of discomfort if that's what
Right.
we want. If that's what we say we want. We're
Hmm.
saying those things,
Hmm.
but we're not willing to be uncomfortable.
And it's
The other thing
temporary.
is, right, it's
It's temporary.
temporary.
Hmm.
But the choices we keep making over and over and over, that could be a lifetime for you.
Yes.
I know bitter
Yes.
women and bitter men who are 70, 80 years old. I ain't getting married. I ain't finna let nobody take my money. I ain't getting married. I ain't finna let nobody take my stuff I worked hard for. I don't need nobody up laying up underneath me all the time. They go out and cheat anyway. I've listened to old people say these things, and I'm
Hmm.
like, you made a decision, right? It's your
Hmm.
decision. As you continue to tell us, it's your choice. You can make whatever choice you make. But also know that on this side, there's other side that you can choose. You can choose
Hmm.
to forgive yourself, which we talk about often. Choose to forgive yourself. Yes, you
Hmm.
may have made bad decisions in the past, which created this bitterness and this anger and this cycle that you've been in. So
Hmm.
forgive yourself. I picked the wrong people. And now I need to forgive myself for making bad choices. Whether
Hmm.
it was friendships or romantic relationships, whatever it may be, business partnerships,
Hmm.
jobs that you choose. If you choose people and you feel like that was not healthy for me, forgive yourself and move on. Don't turn yourself into a victim. Don't become a cynic. Don't become pessimistic about your entire life going forward because something didn't work out. 10 things cannot work out.
Hmm.
You make the flip and say, I'm going to go get that book Kia mentioned. I'm going to
Hmm.
commit to a change for 21 days and just see.
Hmm.
I mean, no harm, no foul. I'm just doing something different. It
Hmm.
could either work or not work because I already know
Right.
what ain't working.
Right. Right. Exactly. I already know it's not working.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yes. Even shoot, even going to like again we've shared this before. Going to a therapist. Going to a therapist. If you don't have people in your around you that supports the because okay, so you will once you do decide to do some changing. People there will be some people that might not be your friends no more because they so used to you being that certain way, and they will so you might not have the support system around you because
Mm-hmm.
again based on what you've chosen, so
Mm-hmm.
you might have, the friends that think just like you, that support the unhealthy, irrational thinking. Um, and so what if going to a therapist could help you process out loud, could help you see that there's other options, that there's a different way of thinking, that's something that's healthier. And so, we talk about, eating healthy, but I mean, like, what are the words that you're speaking that are unhealthy, right? That's creating unhealth in your life,
Did I
you
send you
know?
that video the other day about um, being around people and those people not, they were talking about support, but it's the same thing about change. When you begin to change, that means you're not the person that they've grown to love and know. And so you might be rejected
Mm-hmm.
during this discomfort,
Mm-hmm.
during this growing season. You might be rejected by those people. They don't
Mm-hmm.
know the
Are you
version
acting
that you're
funny?
trying to become.
Are you trying to be different? I am. Yeah.
So going into it, even I think there has to be a level of understanding that this can definitely change the trajectory of my whole life. I've
Mm-hmm.
gone through so many cocooning sessions in my life. I've gone through so many of them
Mm-hmm.
that even despite how many times I've gone through it, it's still difficult. It's
Mm-hmm.
still difficult to change, because when you have been doing something around the same sets of people for so long, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have to get back in the cocoon, and when you come out the cocoon, you cannot be in the same you can't grow in the same dirt. You
Right.
cannot.
Right.
And that's uncomfortable. It hurts people's feelings. It pisses people off. They don't understand it. They don't know you. They don't know that
Mm-hmm.
version of you.
Right.
It has nothing to do with them. It has
Mm-hmm.
more to do with who you're trying to become. It doesn't have
Right.
anything to do with them.
Right.
So you have to even be okay with accepting and embracing the fact that your ass is gonna be a cocoon over and over and over, and you're gonna keep coming out a butterfly
But some
because
people are afraid of losing, and they only want to hold on to, even if it's unhealthy, they want to hold on to it because they have
Mhm.
something to hold on to. But what if holding on is holding on to you? What if you need to hold on to you?
mm, hold on to you. We
What
need
if
to
you need to hold on to
hashtag
you?
that. Hold on to you. That's a hashtag, cousin. You is showing. Hold on to you.
Got the hype, my hype man. This kid is my hype man
Ooh,
boy.
hold on to you. Baby, I'm like, oh. I know we've done this before with the hugging yourself, but that made me just want to hug myself
Yes.
in that moment. That
Yes.
wanted me to just take a moment to hug
Yeah.
myself. Hold on to you.
Yeah.
Godly, like that is so good. Hold on to you. So many times we literally, and I know even when you said, a lot of people they get comfortable. They just want to just stay there. And it's so
Mm-hmm.
true. But if you just hold on to you, choose you, choose you. And like I said, I've done it a ton of times. It gets easier the more that I do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a challenge for me sometimes, but
Right.
it gets easier. It gets easier.
Right.
Um,
And I'm single. So, like, same thing. Like, I have challenges at times. I'm like, dang, I just want to cuddle with somebody, you know? Sometimes, but I'm not, so I have those moments, right? I
mhm.
have those moments. Like, there's no but. I have those moments.
Yeah,
I have those moments.
and that is because you're human,
Right, right.
and
I have those
that
moments.
that is going to happen. I
Right.
wanna I want us to close out with you talking to people about, because this was another thing that came up in the article. Is how about if we decided not to take things personal, things that people may have done that led us to becoming victims, that
Mm-hmm.
led us to being frustrated and angry and feeling like all men are this, all women are
Mm-hmm.
that. What if we just decided that was not even on us? What if we decided not to allow their behavior to be projected on us?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
You know, it's interesting when you were saying that. Okay, I think, and I felt like I don't know why I keep going back to parents. Right, parents is your first. Um, it's like, where do you learn how to have relationship? Right, you learn how to have relationship with your parents. Your first form of relationship is your parents. So if you feel safe and connected with your parents, you'll have safe and connected relationships. So in your life, if you're not having healthy relationships, then maybe something with the parental, your parental relationship was off. So I'm saying that to say, even when you forgive the relationship that you're in, right, and you move on, you might have to move on from a relationship that you, unhealthy relationship or unhealthy dynamic that you have with your parents. And maybe it starts there. It starts there, forgiving your parents for only knowing the limited amount that they knew.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it starts for forgiving that father that wasn't present because he didn't know how to be nothing else. He didn't know that he was important to anybody else. Maybe he thought he wasn't important. Maybe um, for whatever reason, right? What if it starts there with forgiving our first relationships in our life, and that's our parents? Because once you
Mm-hmm.
forgive them, once you can move on from them, and it's not even about forgiving them, and because some parents, I understand that some parents are still unhealthy, right? And so there's
Yeah.
still some toxic stuff that they may do. So what if it's about forgiving them for the past because now you see that they didn't know no better. They had no clue. They only knew
Yeah.
what they knew. And so now what we can do is identify this is who they are. And what if it's about releasing what we wanted them to be? What if it's about releasing who we wanted them to be? What if it's about releasing the parental relationship we needed to have with them that they weren't able to give to us? And what if it starts there? Because then you can forgive that relationship because you can realize that people are human and people don't always know. They only know what their limit. They only know by their own limited knowledge. Not
Yeah.
everybody's in that space because there's people that have elevated, but in this space where you're in this space needing the healing, maybe the healing is that you just need to forgive your parents so that way you can forgive this relationship so that way you can move to that next level to have a healthier relationship in your life.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the benefits of having a therapist. You all get this twice a month, and you just get just little small bursts of it. But think about the benefits of sitting with someone and really working through some of this stuff so that you can really have a very happy, healthy life. And you can have happy, healthy relationships. Because what's so important of what Shamika said is if you pay attention, a lot of these things are rooted back. We we think that we should be blaming people that we got into adult relationships with who don't have anything to do. These people ain't responsible for shit because we are all moving from our past. They have their set of past and their parents and that relationship. You got your set of past and relationships. And I'm going to tell you this, I know that there are some parents that were abusive to their kids and knew exactly what they were doing. But for the most part, there were a lot of parents that did the very best they could. They did the very best they could. They really tried. They thought that what they were doing was good for us. And I think when you really come to understand that, a lot of times people who become parents themselves really kind of grasp that because you start to make some mistakes yourself. I always say the most important job on the entire planet is bringing a whole damn baby in the world, especially a woman. You carry the baby, you push the baby out of you, or they cut the baby out of you. But do you realize the significance and the weight of that level of responsibility?
Man,
And
you create a whole nother nation. This
but you
you
don't have
create a
no
whole
idea what
nation.
you're doing. When you go
No
to a
clue.
job, how many people can say raise your hand? Raise your hand. You got 6 weeks of training. You got a month of training. You got 2 weeks of training. You got some
Maybe
form
2 weeks.
of training. Whatever
Training.
the hell it was. I don't care if it was 48 hours. You got
You got
training.
training.
Becoming a parent, there is no
No
training.
training.
There is modeling. Our parents modeled to us our belief systems, our patterns, our thoughts, all of that came from our parental guidance. So now you get out here in the world with other adults and you want to blame the other adults who only doing what they parents instilled in them, showed them how they reared them, and y'all coming together with two sets of parents that didn't know what the hell they was doing.
And most of us was reared out of fear anyway. Was reared out of fear and control because we didn't want we didn't yeah. Maybe that's another conversation. You know, I started a whole other conversation on something else. Go ADHD. Go somewhere else. We'll be like, what? Where'd you go?
How we get there? No, so I think even understanding these people, a lot of these people are not intentionally hurting us, right? And I even had to, that one was a hard one for me personally, because I'm like, they knew what the hell they was doing. What you mean? They ain't know what they was
They
doing.
grown.
They knew they just know. They knew
No.
he cheated on me. He knew I was his girlfriend and he went out and did it anyway. But what if he lacked love from his mother? What if his mother didn't give him attention? And he got out here and he seeked attention from all of these different women. And that was his way of coping with his childhood emptiness. He not doing that to hurt me. In fact,
that's his issue.
Me. He loved me.
He loved me the best way he know how.
He loved me the best way that he knew how to love me. What if we looked at things like that?
Right. And we're not saying get back with him. We're not saying that. We're just saying in order to release. In order to release that. In order to release that. Look at the trauma he might have endured. That doesn't mean that you're his savior. Because we will do that. We will try to save. That is not our job. That's not our job. But just knowing that everybody's dealing with their own stuff. They are just blinded and they don't. Some of them don't even know because they're in that circle. They're stuck in that cycle too. They're just stuck in that cycle because that's the best way they know how to cope.
Yep.
With their own traumas, their own abuse. It's so many kids. It's so many boys out here. It's so many men out here that have been sexually molested at a young age that they thought, no, I just had sex with my babysitter, right? That's what we did. That's molestation, right? It's not. That's not okay. But again, and that causes trauma. So that causes them to act out, and their act out is, the act out is just act out. We all have act out way, act out temperament times. We all have it.
I think one of the things before we close out that I had to even identify about myself is that it's okay to have whatever emotions I have, but as long as I hold on to them, is as long as I own them. And that's whether I'm trying to blame, whether I want to be angry, whether I choose to be hurt, whatever, it has the energy as long as I want to hold on to it. I can release it at any time.
I love that. I love that. Say that again. That was a nugget. Say that again.
So I have the ability to release and let these things go, that it has the energy in which the strength that I hold it, that's the energy it has. I can slowly start releasing, right?
I love that.
Or I can just drop it, right?
Right.
But if I'm new in this journey and I'm healing and I'm early in the stages, I can just slowly start to open my hand. I can slowly start to let it go. I can slowly release because I know that it's not about me. Other people's actions are about them. It has nothing to do with me. I need to focus on my healing. I need to focus on my path. I need to focus on what is going to be the healthiest for me. Because that's not going to work for me. I can't live in that space anymore.
Yes.
I did it for a long time. But I wanted, as we closed out, And this is another part of the article that I wanted to share with everyone, and then we can close out after I share this. It says, this is a 5-step plan to working on stepping outside of that bitterness. Identify the source of your bitterness and what this person did to evoke your resentful feelings. That's number one. Number two, develop a new way of looking at your past, present, and future, including how resentment has negatively affected your life and how letting go of it can improve your future. I love that. I love that. Number three, and I talk about this a lot with my journaling workshops, write a letter to this person describing their offenses towards you. Then forgive and let go of them. But don't send the letter. A lot of times I'll burn it, I'll shred it,
bury it, I'll shred it.
Yeah, whatever. Just do whatever you feel connected to do to release it.
Yep.
Number four, visualize. Love this one. Visualize having a better future, having neutralized the negative impact of.
I love it.
And then number five, if bitter, resentful feelings remain, return to step one and begin again.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
And so we want to close out with you all there, and I want to have Shamika give us some closing words on those 5 steps or anything else that she feels like she's moved to share with you all before we close this out.
Well, let's do the breathing. Let's do the breathing, because even in that releasing, right?
Yeah, I feel like I need that too. That was heavy.
Yes. So let's release. Let's release. Let's release whatever came up today, whatever came up in this conversation, whatever showed up here, whatever came up that brought an energy of like, oh gosh, I need to work, or whatever that is, right? Whatever that is, we're going to breathe in and we're going to release it, okay? So count of 5, we're going to breathe in from our belly. Again, exaggerate the belly when you're breathing in like it's a balloon, and deflate it when you're breathing out, okay? And exaggerative deflate. So we're going to breathe, count of 5. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it and release it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in peace. Breathe it in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release all the yuck. 2, 3, 4, 5. One more time. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And what else is possible? And all of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. How does it get any better than this?
Woo. I gotta hold myself. That was beautiful. That was so good. I said that was gonna be heavy, y'all. I told y'all that was gonna be heavy. And I knew it was gonna be heavy because I think that was one of the heaviest things for me was bitterness and anger and resent and just holding on to stuff that needed to not be in my space anymore, not be in my heart. And I can tell you that my life is definitely so much better since I made that choice. Anybody have any questions or comments before we close out? Because we have reached our hour. I know time flies when you're having fun.
Yes.
And so as we wait to see if there's any comments or any questions, I want to definitely shout out our DAR therapist, Shamika. She is definitely showing up and showing out. And I love that she is sharing her gift. She also had to decide to change and step outside of her comfort zone by being here. And so I
appreciate you for doing this and helping me step outside and use my gifts, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, this is needed. This is so needed. And as much work as I do, it's always helpful for me. It's always, it's always a release for me too. Because as we do this work, we are serving ourselves too.
Yes.
And I tell people all the time, that's why all of the work that I do is connected to healing. Because I'm constantly wanting to work on that. I'm constantly wanting to heal. I'm constantly wanting, okay, I got to jump back in the cocoon again. What do I need to do? I am really invested in that. And so we're sharing that experience with you all. And we hope that it was received. I don't see any questions. I don't see any comments. And so we will close out in love. Thank you all so much for attending. And until next time, you guys, peace.
Toodles.
Seeing eyes of mine, you see, there are no trees inside of me.